Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Mom and Tom podcast. I'm Mom.
And I'm Tom. And today we will be discussing part 4 of our look into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Last time I know we spent a lot of time on the 2 movies that we were discussing, so we're going to try to speed it up a bit. We're going to try to get through 5 movies today.
All right, so we're just going to dive right in if that's okay. Oh, I think...
Quick, though, yes, I would like to dive right in, but I wanted to mention quick that we have an email. I know I try to mention this every episode, but if anybody is a new listener, our email is momandtompodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word, Mom and Tom Podcast. Feel free to send us emails about the show, about feedback, or your opinion on these movies that we're reviewing, anything like that. We also now have an Instagram. Our Instagram account is also Mom and Tom Podcast, all one word. So the URL, if you want to just type it in, is instagram.com/Mom and Tom Podcast. That is all the social media we have right now. Feel free to send us comments, follow our Instagram, leave comments on our YouTube, anything like that. We love to see the interaction from you guys.
Absolutely.
And, puts a smile on our face, definitely. So, like Mom said, we're trying to get through a lot of movies, so we're going to dive right in. The first movie next up is...
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Made in 2015, or came out in 2015.
Yes.
So, and this just kind of the summary of the plot. Oh, first of all, we'll say that this one grossed $180.2 million. So, not bad. Not terrible.
Bad.
Director Peyton Reed and starring Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Corey Stoll, and Evangeline Lilly. And Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, has developed this Ant-Man shrinking technology, which is in the form of a suit. And his technology is being duplicated by his former protege, Darren Cross. But of course, Darren Cross calls his suit something nasty, like a yellow jacket, and he wants to sell it to Hydra. So,
yes, he wants to use it for the evil purposes of war and things like that.
So we have the good versus evil. So Hank Pym decides to convince this Scott Lang, who is Paul Rudd's character, to use the Ant-Man suit to steal the yellow jacket technology.
Yes.
So, and, I really like the character of Scott Lang, who becomes Ant-Man, because he's definitely not hero material necessarily. Not. He's a thief.
Former thief,
yes. But I think he's a guy who wants to be a hero. He has a now ex-wife, and he has a daughter. And, but he's struggling to fulfill that role.
Right. And it does show some struggles, some real life struggles as well, of someone who is a past criminal, because they show some interactions of how, he's trying to be a better person. He's trying to go out and get a job and to earn an honest living. And but then there's a scene where his employer finds out his criminal record and goes, "Ooh, sorry, we can't have you around here anymore." And the world is tough on people that are trying to turn their lives around, unfortunately. Yeah. But, with the idea of helping to fight evil, the evil Hydra gives him an opportunity to become a hero. So that's kind of cool. Yep. And he ends up using the suit to go and fight this Darren Cross. There's all these really cool fight scenes in this movie. It's very unique in the sense that, instead of just these big brawn guys like punching everything and throwing everything, they're shrinking and then they're growing and then they're and like Mom was saying, they're sort of just regular guys with these crazy suits. So it's not like they're extra strong or anything. They're just doing all this funny stuff with shrinking and it's very interesting, very different.
Yeah, I like it. I have to say my actual favorite part of this entire movie is the character that Michael Pena plays that didn't get a lot of press, but he plays Lewis, who was Scott's cellmate.
Right.
And he is the one who actually ends up getting him to do this job initially. And there's just this really, really funny scene. And Michael Pena, he's kind of talking slang and he's talking fast. And he's telling Scott about this job, this stealing job or whatever,
Right.
heist, whatever they call it. And as he's telling him, he's talking super fast and he's talking slang. And you see each person, each character that kind of was telling him, takes part in the story, but they're all talking in his voice.
Yeah, it is a really funny scene.
I just found it. I'm like, that like stands out in the movie for me because I just thought it was so clever and so funny. And you
I
see this
agree.
little Asian girl talking in this,
Mexican
this-
guy's
yeah.
voice. Yeah, it's a funny.
yeah, it's
yeah.
very funny. It's very funny. And they do it at the end too, I think, when he's trying to tell him that Falcon is looking for him.
Right,
Or Sam
yeah.
Wilson. Yeah.
So yeah, there is some interaction with the other Avengers, and just one other, I believe. It's just Falcon.
Yeah.
There's a little scene where Ant-Man's trying to steal something from
From the Avengers.
Avengers headquarters or something, and he has a little fight scene with Falcon, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it kind of just ends up how you'd think. Good guy beats the bad guy. And that's ends up how it ending. I believe in the end credits, Michael Douglas's character,
Yes.
the researcher, reveals another suit
Yes.
that will eventually become the Wasp
Yes.
for his daughter.
Yeah, he's showing it to his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, what would you rate this one at?
I'm gonna say 8. I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was
think,
different. And it was one of those movies where I wasn't sure how good it was gonna be, really, when I first saw it, just because the concept of Ant-Man is not as grand, as a lot of the other
You kinda
superheroes.
go,
but
okay, really?
but it's better than I thought. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I'm right in there too. 7.5 to 8, right in there. So, all right. We're gonna move on to the next movie.
Civil War.
Yes.
This one was very intense. It definitely is very comparable to the Avengers movies, I should say, with how many awesome characters were in this one.
Oh gosh, yes. Real quick with the stats. This was came out in 2016, and this was the Russo brothers.
Yep.
And of course,
Which went on to direct Infinity War, so that
right.
matches up.
Yeah. And this one actually grossed $408.08 million.
Yeah, this one's actually out of the 5 we're reviewing today. This is the biggest one,
right,
for the grossing.
Right.
Yeah, and this one starred Chris Evans as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, and many more. Those are the
kind
main
of the
headlines.
the usual characters.
The usual cast, yes.
Yeah.
So the overview of the plot on this one, basically the government, or the UN in particular, is drafting what they called the Sokovia Accords. After all that happened within the Age of Ultron, they want to try to find a way to sort of limit the Avengers' power, I guess.
Yeah.
They want oversight for the Avengers, because right now the Avengers kind of can just do whatever they want and fight wherever they want, whenever they want.
Right. They do. Yeah. They govern themselves.
They're not
basically.
governed. Yes.
Yeah.
And so they see that as could possibly become a risk, just because of how powerful these people are.
Right.
And see it as, I think, maybe as the UN should have control over the actions of this group.
Yeah.
So this, by the way, is the first appearance of Black Panther at a meeting for the Accords. Black Panther's father, who is the current ruler of Wakanda, ends up getting assassinated or killed by a bombing. So that is when Black Panther becomes the new leader. T'Challa is his name, becomes the new leader of Wakanda from there. It ends up, as the title Civil War implies, it ends up being sort of half the group supports the UN's measures to sort of govern over them, and then the other half thinks they should remain free.
Autonomous.
That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
So basically here the lineup is going to be the team that's for Oversight. We've got Tony Stark, Iron Man.
He's really leading that.
Yeah, he's the one that's kind of leading the group.
Yeah, that faction.
And with him, he's got Vision, Black Widow, Black Panther, and the new Spider-Man. This is also the first appearance of Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah, who's really fun.
Yes, definitely.
Fun kid, yeah.
And then we've got the leader of the sort of against measures, for the autonomous group is led by Captain America. And then with him, he's got the usual crew of Bucky Barnes and Falcon. And then he's also got Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and Ant-Man.
And War Machine, of course.
No, I believe War Machine's with Tony Stark, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that wrong.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sorry, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, War Machine is
of
Tony
course.
Stark's buddy,
Of course,
so he's
yeah.
on that
They're
side.
buds, yeah.
So how this one ends up, the climax of the movie, but Stark finds out from this old, like, archived footage that the Bucky Barnes, when he was sort of being mind controlled, as you could say, or when he was the Winter Soldier, he was actually the one who killed Tony Stark's parents.
Yeah.
And that kind of just, even though they were already in this disagreement, that kind of sends them over the edge.
Yeah. Between he and Captain America in particular.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, because Captain America, this whole movie is trying to defend Bucky
yeah.
as, like, which, I mean, rightfully so. He was kind of mind controlled or brainwashed, and he knows deep inside that Bucky isn't what people say he is.
Because he knows it from the past.
Right.
Yeah.
So it ends up being this really intense and bloody fight between Iron Man and Captain America. It's almost hard to watch at points.
Yeah. It's really kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because you see these guys that are just, they both have good intentions, and it's just, it's hard to watch.
It
for
is.
sure.
It is. It just becomes sad because they don't kill each other, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But,
which a lot of people thought they were.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think Captain America comes close, but then, and then at the end when Stark tells Rogers that, Captain America's walking away, but Stark says, you're not worthy of that shield. My dad made that shield. And so he drops it and leaves it behind, which I thought was really sad.
That was a very, very sad scene.
I think also just this movie kind of poses that age-old question about government control, good or bad.
Yeah,
that's a real life,
it
a
is
real
definitely
world scenario question, and we're not going to get into that. But it is it is interesting. So
it definitely is a relatable storyline, and basically they end up. I mean, like Mom said, they don't kill each other, but they end up separating, and it seems pretty...
And you kind of don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it seems pretty definite at this point.
Yeah.
In the story that.
Yeah. So again, what would you rate this one?
I really thought this one was just really good storytelling, and the way that they did the fights between all these amazing characters, and how I really liked that I felt like I could relate to almost everybody's side in this one, which is something that's very rare. Like, there wasn't really like a good versus bad. It was kind of like good versus good almost.
Yeah.
Which is just a very interesting
because neither
idea.
side was doing anything
malicious.
Yeah.
They were just doing what they believed was right for their situation. So I'm gonna give this like a 9.5. I really like this one.
I was gonna say 8.5 to 9, just because for me, obviously the difference between you and I mean, some of the fight scenes I thought were a little over the top and
that's
things
fair.
Like that. But yet I understood that, like I say, that age-old question. So
yeah.
All right.
Very good one.
Moving along.
Next up, Doctor Strange.
Yes.
You want to go over the stance real quick?
We
with
love
this one?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
We love Benedict Cumberbatch in this house.
And again, this one released in 2016, and this one grossed about half of Civil War at $232.64 million.
Yep, so right in between these last two.
Yeah.
About.
Director is Scott Derrickson. Never had not heard of him before, but of course we have Benedict Cumberbatch and Chiwetel Ejiofor. I probably said that horribly wrong.
Okay.
Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, and then Tilda Swinton, who plays
The
she was
ancient one.
Yeah, and she was the White Witch in Chronicles of Narnia. So
Yeah, just
kinda
as
cool
a
to see
side
her
note,
again.
yeah, definitely. I think she's one of those actresses that she's able to play really unique characters.
Yeah, I would agree.
And like, I don't know, there's just something about her that she just has like a different aura around her than most actresses, I feel like.
I would agree.
She's serious, but kind of also can have like a dry humor type of thing that she does, and
She's just a little doggone scary too.
a little bit, yeah. I definitely think she's one of those actresses that you will continue to see
I think so
throughout
too.
the years, just because of her uniqueness.
Yeah.
But getting into sort of the plot points, Dr. Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange, he's quite egotistical. He is a surgeon who's extremely intelligent and talented at his work. However, right at the beginning of the movie, he suffers this severe car accident, partially because of his egotistical manner. He's like not really paying attention while he's driving.
He's driving way too fast.
Right. And in this car crash, he hurts his hands so bad that they say you're never going to be able to do surgery again. Like he has lost so much control and they're so damaged. And so basically he's at this point he's really desperate to find something to make it so he can pursue his passion even more. And so he travels to Kathmandu, and in this remote area of the world, and ends up meeting Tilda Swinton's character, the Ancient One. And that's where, at first, when she talks to him about the mystical arts and stuff, he's kind of like, okay, that's all just bogus. Like, why did I come here? This is dumb. But then she does this weird trick where she, like...
astral projection.
And sends him through all these, like, universes and stuff. And it freaks him out. And he's like, oh my gosh, wait, you got to teach me this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So then he basically becomes a student of hers. They explain that there's also all of these... they explain that there's like these sanctums all over Earth where they protecting where these sort of mystical arts students, these like mages, they protect Earth. So their job is to try to protect Earth from like intergalactic beings, anything that would try to
threats,
anything that would try to threaten the Earth. So the main bad guy in this movie is technically Dormammu, although you don't really see him until the very end because he can't really get to Earth without being brought here. So there are these students of the Ancient One that turn against her and are trying to use all the different magical artifacts and stuff that these mages have in their possession to bring Dormammu to Earth so he can essentially take over the Earth. What ends up happening, though, is when Dormammu comes, finally, Doctor Strange is able to use the Eye of Agamotto to create a never-ending time loop. And it's actually kind of a funny scene where he jumps down in front of Dormammu and he goes, Dormammu, I'm here to make a deal. And then Dormammu squishes him, kills him. And then he jumps down again and says, Dormammu, I'm here to make a deal. And it just keeps going over and over like that until Dormammu realizes, I can't escape this. I don't know. Like, I'm just fine. I'll just leave. And so he gets annoyed and he leaves. And so that part's kind of funny. I like that part.
Again, this, I what I liked about this movie, I like, it was different, and the effects of just the interesting contraptions, like, and the alternate dimensions, all those effects of astral projection. I mean, at one point, Stephen Strange is injured. As once he's this character,
he is Doctor Strange.
He gets back to his hospital that he worked at. He gets his old girlfriend, Dr. Palmer, to work on him, but he's dying, and he is able to project himself and do astral projection and direct her on how to fix
perform
him.
surgery on his actual body.
Yeah,
so he's like
body.
outside his body.
Yeah, so it was really kind of a cool effect. It was interesting, and then the whole cloak of levitation. I mean, you wonder, because you see the pictures from the comic books, with the red cloak, and you're thinking, where is that? Well, then the cloak of levitation, as it turns out, attaches itself to him, and then that really completes the picture of, what you see from the comic book picture.
Right.
So that's kind of fun. And then the interactions between Doctor Strange and Master Wong, who kind of guards the library and all that stuff.
The librarian guy.
Yeah, and he's talking to him about Beyonce, and he's like, come on, seriously, you don't know who Beyonce is? And then he's trying to distract him because he wants to steal this book that Master Wong told him to stay away from. And
it's like a collection of books that only like masters are supposed to access or something like that, but he wants to read ahead.
So then he like plays this Beyonce music, and Master Wong's like looking around, and while he's looking around, Doctor Strange like jumps in astrally and
takes humorous. The books. Yeah, that is a funny part.
Yeah. So what would you rate this one at?
I thought, kind of like Ant-Man, this one was a bit different, and but I still liked it. I want to say 8.5.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think so. Right around 8. I think I'm good. Right around 8.
Okay.
It was, I kind of liked that it was different and stuff like that. And I at the beginning you kind of don't like Doctor Strange,
right.
And then you end up kind of liking him.
Yeah, he redeems himself for sure. And I will say, just for clarity, that I'm a little impartial to Benedict Cumberbatch, and I also like Tilda Swinton too. So any movie that both of them is in, I'm gonna kind of like it just off the bat. But I do think that like you said, the uniqueness and the effects are very cool and add to the story a lot.
All right.
Next up,
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
We apologize for laughing.
This is definitely both of our least favorite, I would think.
I think so.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe
the first Hulk.
Yeah. I think maybe Hulk was worse.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
That's true. I would say that. Go ahead.
Well, why don't we? I'll get into it after we overview it. So.
Again, released in 2017, director James Gunn, and of course the stars from the first Guardians of the Galaxy: Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel,
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. Yep. Sorry, missed him. Yep. And grossed 389.81 million. So actually, it grossed really close to Civil War.
Yeah, and I really think though that was riding off the first one.
I think so too. I think you're right.
I think
if I had to guess,
I think the first Guardians was very loved in the universe, and so everyone was dying to see a second.
Sure.
And it wasn't what we thought it would be. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
So basically what happens in this one, I'm just going to quickly summarize it because, to be honest, not a whole lot happens in this movie. It's very predictable. The whole beginning of the movie, they're talking about, wow, Peter, have you ever wondered who your father is?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know. And then this random godlike being saves them when they're being chased down by these ships and stuff. And then what do you know? It's his father. His father's played by Kurt Russell. Nothing against Kurt Russell.
Who we love. I mean, love Kurt Russell.
Yes, nothing against him. But basically, it turns out his father, like I said, is this sort of godlike celestial being. And he has this whole planet that he's like created out of his consciousness. It's kind of a weird idea to think about, but just basically think of it like if the planet is like his brain, sort of. And so basically he tells Peter Quill, or Chris Pratt's character, about how his goal was to sort of spread out a piece of himself between like every planet that he visited, so that he could eventually just like make it so that not just this planet is his consciousness, but like every planet is him, essentially. Which is,
well, his name is Ego. Okay, the character's name is Ego. So I mean, that kind of says it all.
That basically explains it. And at first, Peter Quill is like, thinking maybe this is my father, and he trusts him, and he's like, I should help him out. But then he figures out that from the first movie, his mother died of cancer, a tumor, and you find out that Ego is actually the one who put the tumor in her because she was becoming a distraction for him from his true purpose of trying to take over all the planets. And so obviously Chris Pratt gets really mad about this, and they decide to take out the planet because, like I said, the planet is essentially his brain. So they end up doing a big fight scene. Rocket makes a bomb, blows up the planet. Yondu dies. There you go. That's essentially all the everything that happens.
But you do get a fun new character, which is Mantis. She's an empath alien, and she eventually works for Ego, and she ends up joining up with the Guardians team. So
yeah, she's kind of interesting. She has this ability to like tell people's feelings, and it does create a few funny scenes. But what I would say overall about this movie is that it just it wants to echo the first movie in like the humor, but it just feels like it tries way too hard at it. It's trying to be funny at every turn and twist and turn of the movie, and it just doesn't work for me. And I did not like this one very much. I thought the plot very predictable, and the humor just, there was still some funny parts, but it just
it didn't completely fail, but it
missed the mark on a lot of spots. So I want to give this one like a 4.
Yeah, that's a number I had in my head too.
Yeah,
about a 4. So, all right, we're still we really want to get through the 5th one here, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to Spider-Man: Homecoming, also released in 2017, directed by John Watts, featuring the new Spider-Man Tom Holland, and brings in Michael Keaton and, of course, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., and Marissa Tomei plays his aunt.
Yes,
that is raising him. Yeah, and this one grossed $334.2 million, so pretty good.
Yeah, did really well. Basically, this one starts off with the new Spider-Man. He wants to be a part of the Avengers, but Tony Stark feels like he's not really ready for all that responsibility yet because he is like a high school student, so he's still very young. He makes sure to keep his identity hidden, aside from his best friend who figures it out in kind of a funny way at the beginning of the movie. But overall, there's a bad guy played by Michael Keaton. His name is Vulture, and essentially he is gathering all these ancient alien weapons, that were actually left over from the species that originally invaded with Loki in the first Avengers.
Right.
And it's these powerful weapons that he's trying to collect and I think eventually sell them off in some way, but he's trying to collect them up. And as the movie goes on, Spider-Man has various encounters with this with Michael Keaton's character, and it ends up going badly for him for a lot of the beginning of the movie, like the first half of the movie, and Tony Stark has to keep coming in and saving him, and eventually gets annoyed with Spider-Man and says, you know what, I'm taking away your suit because you're being irresponsible and, you're not...
Kind of being it's sort of a dad, kind of a mentor to him.
Yeah, trying to keep him safe, too.
Yeah.
So then Peter Parker is kind of forced to go back to life as just a normal high school student until there's a big twist where he decides to go to prom with this girl, and the girl's dad is Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And
dun, dun, dun.
That part was actually so cool, in my opinion, because I did not see that coming.
No.
I don't know what you did.
No.
Yeah, that was a cool twist. And because he gets so nervous and everything, Michael Keaton kind of figures out that, oh, crap, this kid is Spider-Man. Like, he's kind of figures it out as they're going. And they end up having a big fight scene where Peter Parker's like, sorry, girl, I gotta leave. And she runs out of the prom and tries to take out Vulture. Eventually does end up capturing him so that the police, or he webs him down. But in that fight, he does save Michael Keaton's life.
Yeah.
So Michael Keaton kind of realizes, like, okay, maybe this guy really isn't bad. because he does say, I mean, he stopped me, but he saved my life. So he, at the end of the movie, when he does go to prison, there's another bad guy in there who goes, hey, I heard you got captured by Spider-Man. I want to take out Spider-Man too. And, do you know who he is? And Michael Keaton goes, no idea. I don't know who that is. So, and at the end, Spider-Man also gets his suit back because of his courageous act in stopping Vulture. And he, essentially, Tony Stark considers him again as someone that he can rely on and use for future Avengers functions.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I liked it. I like this Tom Holland. I like this
do too.
version. It takes from a different perspective than the Tobey Maguire,
Right.
Spider-Man ones.
It's a much younger version.
Yeah.
And which is supposed to reflect better on the comic book Spider-Man, too.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be younger, so...
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. And then the character that Zendaya ends up playing...
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane, yeah, MJ or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun. That's kind of
that
a
one
change.
also kind of comes out of nowhere. Right at the end of the movie, they just go, I don't remember how they reveal it. They just reveal her name somehow right at the end. And you go, oh, that was
You're
Mary
like,
Jane all
she's
along.
MJ. Oh, okay.
Because you kind of just assume that the girl that he went to prom with would be MJ. And then it's like, no,
There's
wait,
kind of
no,
a
this
switch
other
there.
girl
So
is
it's
MJ.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
So what would you rate this one? I'll let you go first this time.
Again, I think I'd probably put this one right around an 8.
Okay.
I would say it's pretty up there, and it'll be, I haven't seen, like the animated version, the Spider-Man universe.
I heard it got really good reviews.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, so far, like I say, I like this Tom Holland. I like his version.
I agree.
His take on Spider-Man.
I think I'd go with 8.5. I like this one a lot.
All
right, so we got through the 5.
We made it.
Sorry this went a little bit longer than our normal episodes, but we're trying to keep this to a 5-part series. That's why we're trying to kind of blow through these as quick as we can. So 2 weeks from now should be our last episode. You guys can look forward to
the last episode for the Marvel Universe.
I'm sorry, not last episode of the podcast.
Don't stop listening.
Yeah, don't stop listening, please. Just the last episode of our Marvel series will be in 2 weeks from now. And so you can look forward to us talking about Infinity War. Yay! I'm excited.
And I hope everybody's looking forward to Captain Marvel coming out.
Yes, we will also make sure to mention that when we we'll mention some future release dates 2 weeks from now. So just again, if you guys want to, you can leave comments on our YouTube, subscribe to us, follow us on Instagram, send us an email. Again, that's momandtompodcast, all one word, @gmail.com. And that's same with the Instagram. It's momandtompodcast, all one word. If you guys would like to send us any feedback or, your ratings on these movies, we'd love to hear what your guys' opinions is.
Absolutely.
So have a great couple weeks until we see you again, everybody. Stay warm.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.